good at that.
He is good at that. And the folks we're about to see are good at shooting with a compound bow. It's time for the women's gold medal match here in Antalya on Konyaaltı Beach. And there's a good look at Sara Lopez, who's had everybody buzzing this week with the way that she's been shooting, just 18 years old. Earlier this week defeated Minu Abedi of Iran, Inga van Kaspel, and Christina Berger. So the 18-year-old from Colombia is in the gold medal match, already has a gold medal in her pocket from this morning in the women's team competition.
Yeah, and watching her, she shot solid. She was solid as anybody in that team. In fact, in a way, kind of packed them a lot, it looked like.
So Sara Lopez facing somebody else who's created quite a buzz here in compound archery, Korea's Seok Ji Hyun, 23 years old. This past week defeated Pascal Lebec of France, Yoon So Jung, and Marcella Tonioli. Made her first appearance in World Cup competition last month in Shanghai and won the gold medal there at stage 1. Also won a team gold medal and a mixed team silver medal. So she really kind of just exploded on the scene.
Yeah, I mean, it was was somewhat of a surprise, but not really. I mean, in 09 in Ulsan when they had the World Championships there, the Korean women's team had done very well. We'd heard that they were going to start doing the funding and the supporting like that, so we knew that they'd do well. In fact, they should have won the team gold in Ulsan, but they had some mess-ups like Canada did this morning on getting across the lines, and the last girl had to run up and shoot, and as she shot, I mean, there was no time, and it hit the wall behind for a 0 to lose by like 2 points to the Russians. So you knew they had some talent coming around.
Should be a great match based on what we saw from Sara Lopez this morning. Shooting for her second gold medal of the day. Good start.
Yeah. It's an advantage, too, having been out there earlier today and knowing what you got going on versus, you know, somebody who's just walking out there.
Seok Ji Hyun, Korea. Getting a feel for things. So advantage Colombia. First World Cup event ever for Sara Lopez. And a strong start with a 10 and a 9.
Eight points.
Still on that left side, not ahead of knowing what the wind's doing yet, so it's kind of tough.
So at this point, is she just kind of going off of what she's seen other archers doing and trying to, I wouldn't say copy what they've done, but try to pick up something from what she's seen already?
Yeah, I would say for the most part, you look and see what you can find from what everybody's doing, but you don't know exactly what your bow, because everybody's bow is a little different, what it will do and how much it'll go off. So it usually takes a little bit for you to figure out where you gotta have your pin break when you shoot and stuff like that. So usually you'll know a good archer because it'll take them a couple arrows or one arrow. The quicker they get into it, you know, the better off they are.
And actually it took Seok Ji Hyun 2 arrows to figure it out. She fires a bullseye on her third shot. So she ends up with a score of 26, and despite the slow start with those first 2 shots, she's only down by 3, and we've already seen what can happen here today.
Yeah, in this wind, it doesn't take much of anything at all.
So yeah. Sara Lopez.
In fact, I think their coach for Colombia used to shoot for Venezuela.
Oh, really?
So I think they brought him down there to help out, and it seems to look like it's paying off with a gold medal earlier, and Sara's shooting so well.
And hopefully it generates more excitement, even more excitement for next month in Medellin at stage 3 for the Archery World Cup.
Well, and the next weekend you have the World Games there in Colombia too, so adds a lot up for them.
That'll be over in Cali, Colombia. So a lot going on down in Latin America next month. Trailing by 3, Seok Ji Hyun shoots low and to the left.
8 points.
Segura y fuerte, vamos.
And Lopez continues to impress.
Yeah, following right where she was at the team event this morning, just solid.
It was just one shot after another.
Yeah, she did amazing. That's what we were discussing.
In fact, I think she shot only 1-9.
Could have done.
Yeah, the rest were all bullseyes. We'll see if she can keep it up right here and take advantage of those 2-8s by her competitor, and she does. Starting to put some daylight between herself and her Korean competitor.
Yeah, she's starting to feel it too. You can see her breathing. She knows, you know, a little excitement getting there. Maybe the chance you're like, ooh, might have this in my hand. And
10-10-10.
Wow, mentally strong,
Yeah.
but still enjoying the moment.
Yeah.
You got to have fun along the way, don't you?
You have to enjoy it. You have to enjoy it because just like anything, you know, to get to these levels, you practice a ton. You have to love archery a little bit, or you don't, you know, you don't put the effort in and stuff like that to get to where you need to get.
Well, you saw the ecstasy on the face of Sara Lopez. There's the agony on the face of Seok Ji Hyun, who is in a tough spot right now.
Yeah.
Very tough spot.
Yeah, and in a great spot for making the World Cup finals. You know, a first and even at worst a second puts you pretty solid for most part into the finals.
So a 9-point lead for Sara Lopez, gunning for her second gold medal of the day. She's taken 6 shots thus far. Only one has been outside the 10 ring. Her second shot was a 9. Everything else has been a 10. And I guess Dietmar is now officially a photographer.
I guess. You never know with Dietmar what he's up to.
A man of many trades.
Yes.
Cabinet maker, photographer,
Yeah.
world-class archer. And a better shot right there for Seok Ji Hyun.
Hoping for a little more of an open door, but as good as she shot it, it couldn't be much. A little longer than usual.
10, excellent.
But the momentum keeps rolling.
Yeah. Yeah. Those are the ones you get a little nervous because you know your muscles are getting weaker and more tied up, and to end up with that, you're just happy.
Nine.
우주 좀 포인트 좀 잡아 더 잡아.
Trailing by 9 midway, or I should say, as we start the third end. And there's another great shot by the young lady from Colombia.
No pasa nada.
8 arrows in that win, and she's only down 1. That's pretty impressive.
On the line,
좀 이제. 쨍한 말이야. 감은 어때?
I mean, you can see her bow moving.
10, 10.
and look,
Yeah.
look at the result.
And sometimes you just have them days where you're like, man, it just goes there, and you know, and it's just,
When you're hot,
yep, it's just them days.
it's one of those days for Sara Lopez, apparently.
Yeah. And I remember Michael Jordan saying some days the basketball hoops like that, it's like just throwing it in a big bucket. So,
It's that way for Sara Lopez, who said she was just as surprised as everybody else with her success this week here. Didn't expect to be in 1 gold medal match, let alone 2 gold medal match. She came in ranked 158th in the world, but I think that's the beauty of this sport. You just never know, you know, the talent will rise. I mean, there's no question about that. You just have to have that opportunity.
yeah, and the 15 arrow matches are a great thing because it's, you know, you're going to have some upsets, you're going to not. Just like the college NCAA basketball tournament, you know, you're going to have your Cinderellas, you're going to have your non-Cinderellas, and it's a great way to set up the sport.
So we begin the fourth end. Seok Ji Hyun trailing 89-77. Came into Antalya saying, I want to show the world I'm not a one-hit wonder. And I don't think, it appears as though she's not going to win this match, but I don't think she's a one-hit wonder by any stretch. I think she's going to be a factor for a long time to come.
Yeah, anytime you can come out in back-to-back World Cups and place in the top 3, there's no one-hit wonder. I mean, you've proved that you can.
It's not a fluke.
Yes, yes.
10.
And there she is, finally getting in the center ring. Her first 10 since the final shot of the first end.
10X.
But she's just run into somebody right now who's steamrolling.
Yeah, and you get on those days and you just turn and shake your head and say, it's just not my day. You know, like I said, when the guys from Denmark threw down that 60, I just looked over and was like, hey, they deserve to win. They're flat shot good. And that's what she's doing here. She's just putting on kind of a clinic, I guess you could call it.
And there's days Rio Wilde has done that too. I've seen you shoot 150.
Those are fun days.
9
Wow, a 9.
Yeah. Only her third one of the whole match.
We've come to expect so much more from Sara Lopez.
Yeah. And in that win, that's super impressive.
It'll be interesting to see what kind of reception she gets when she gets back home to Colombia. I got a feeling a lot of attention, a lot of media attention. Life will change a little bit for her after she gets back from Antalya.
Yeah, the littler countries like that don't have a lot of other sports and stuff, it is a lot different. I remember Jorge, when he won the World Cup finals, they said when he flew home from them, the president of the country met him at customs. He didn't even go through customs, and they took him in the president.
That's when you know.
Yeah, took him in the presidential limo and drove him down the road. And my dad, once he heard about that, laughed and says, well, we met you at the airport when you got yours from Mexico. I said, oh, thanks.
Yeah, you still had to go through customs, though, didn't you? 117 to 104. Commanding lead for Sara Lopez, who is, as we like to say in the States, putting on a clinic right now.
I'd say so.
What a performance. And Seok Ji Hyun starting to come on, but probably a little bit too little too late.
Yeah, she's got a pretty commanding lead. They take something really bad to really.
Wow.
I don't know if you could hear that at home, but George in the background with a wow. We'll second that.
Yes, I will. I don't think many of the men coming up would want to be shooting against that.
8 points.
You know, and let's put this in perspective for people who may be watching for the first time. You're aiming at a target, basically. That 10 ring is what, about the size of a CD disc, something of that nature?
Probably about the size of a baseball.
Wow.
About the size of a baseball. Okay,
Yeah.
the circumference of a baseball.
Yeah.
And from 50 meters.
Yeah. So 5 yards further than halfway across the or a football field.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's the best way I give it to describe to people.
10
You know, a U.S. football field. You know, because they have a 100-yard field and it's halfway across there. And it's a pretty healthy distance.
But Sara Lopez has gone the distance. A 9 to finish it off. 10-10-9. What a day for Sara Lopez here in Antalya on Konialty Beach. An emotional moment for her as she wins her second gold medal of the day, and I think it's just hit her.
Yeah, I think she just, you know, it's a great feeling. You know, you can't ever explain it to anybody, but it's a great feeling when that last arrow flies down there and you know you've finally done it, so.
Her teammates in the crowd cheering her on. I'm sure a lot of fans back at home in Colombia cheering for her as well. Can you remember your first big win and the first day that you had when you did something like this? I'm sure you can. You can relate to what she must be feeling.
Yeah, I would say my first really big win was Croatia.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the first World Cup I won, and it was kind of cool because my dad and brother were on the team.
Yep.
And so it was my first outdoor win. It was a big deal. It was quite a deal. You know, it was actually the very first World Cup they'd ever held.
Right.
So it hadn't got to the scale it's at now, but it was a pretty good emotion to know that at that time I'd beat everybody that was there. It was some of the best in the world.